What's a hack in your industry that customers aren't supposed to find out? Orchestral violinist. Sometimes we don't play all the notes. I worked at a restaurant and one time the chef burned the applesauce that was supposed to be served with the pork chop. He put it on the menu as smoked applesauce and people loved it. Former movie theater manager, as long as you purchase something and don't cause a fuss, you can see multiple movies and no one cares. It's only an issue if you cause an issue and we need the concessions. Also, we all know that you sneak stuff in. Most impressive I've seen? A full rotisserie chicken and a box of wine snuck into Magic Mike. It's okay as long as you don't cause a scene and, again, buy something. Sneak in that candy. Buy the popcorn. If you or a teenager you know are admitted to a name brand expensive rich college and their financial aid package isn't enough, write them and ask them for more money. Mention the other schools you were admitted to and that you received strong financial packages from them. Do not mention specific numbers unless it's a named scholarship, e.g. presidential or provost. At least 5 of my students this year got between 10-20K extra in scholarship money just by soliciting for it. You can rent a nice casket for the funeral and be buried in a cheaper one. Any Marriott booking made partially with points, with a 3-day cancellation policy, can be cancelled the same day of the booking without any fees. I used to work in the floral industry. Don't call a large national florist. Look up a local florist in your recipient's area and call them directly. Most have websites to help you choose and you'll save money on delivery and service fees which can go towards a nicer arrangement. Also, unless you order flowers regularly, the membership/loyalty program is a scam and hard to cancel. Delivery driver here, not much of a hack, but loads of people don't seem to know this. If you create an account with the courier who's delivering your parcel, when logged in you can set up a safe place where we can deliver your parcel to if you're not at home. We'll follow the instructions and leave it wherever you want us to, within reason, of course. You can probably also do it from the tracking link, but with an account it'll be set up for every single delivery to your address automatically. Makes both our lives an awful lot easier. I used to work in credit cards. If you disputed a charge for less than $75, not as fraud, we would just credit you the money. Most of the time we wouldn't even investigate it past the initial chargeback. If we didn't win the case you still got your money back. However, if we find out you figured this out, we would stop giving you the credit unless we won. We've even closed accounts that took advantage of it. But if you want your money back as a one-time thing or whatever, you'd be fine. Most industries have retention teams because it costs 10x more to get a new customer than it costs to keep one you have. So if you call up and complain/threaten to cancel every other time they raise your rates, they'll probably give you the introductory rate. Just be aware you might have to switch. Edit threaten to cancel added. Edit 2. Another thing I'm seeing a lot is people getting shut down with no explanation. People hang up and call back. Just say you got disconnected, you might have better luck with another operator. Yes, they take notes, but some reps are more empowered than others. Also, feel free to escalate. Make sure you know how long you've been a customer and how long you've been up to date on your bill. Not sure if your homeowner's insurance will cover something? Apply this one simple rule: greater than was the damage caused by a sudden and one-time occurrence? If the answer is yes, 99% of the time you're covered. If the answer is no, 99% of the time you're not covered. This advice applies to the US. Our physical presence/approach toward the user will sometimes fix the problem they are facing without any additional effort. IT support. Accounting is called a sticky business because we don't lose clients often, unless we are terrible. We continually raise rates and overcharge because we know clients will just stay with the same person they know, rather than search around. It may be hard to evaluate who is a bad versus good versus great accountant, but that won't matter unless you have a difficult situation or specialized work to be done. What matters is you might find an accountant willing to do the same work for a lot cheaper if you can just put in a little extra time to ask them to ballpark their rates. Think of it this way: people regularly go to different grocery stores, convenience stores, and gas station marts to save a few dollars on things like eggs, candy, or milk. I found eggs for $1.50 when they're normally $2.50 is some big accomplishment. What if you found an accountant willing to do your work for $3,000 instead of $5,000? Isn't that worth a few more calls and meetings that you would gladly use time on to find cheaper eggs? Consulting, we don't know either. When I worked as a pharmacy tech, I spent a lot of time calling insurance companies and waiting on hold while the world burned around me. One time I got impatient with the voice recognition bot because it kept hearing background noise and made selections impossible, so I started cursing it out. Turns out if you say the F word a few times in a short span, the bot recognizes you as an angry customer and will switch you to a representative real quick. I did this multiple times to a lot of strange looks from my coworkers until I explained the hack. Quick edit: since I'm getting a lot of the same responses, I now know that you can spam zero or hashtag to get the same results. It's a feature being phased out in places. Shouting representative or operator also works. Therapy cash pay rates are negotiable at many private practices if you are uninsured or your insurance does not cover behavioral health. Lean into the bite. I work in pediatrics and we're retaught that if a child bites you, lean into it, push whatever part of you they're biting further into their mouth, because their automatic reaction will be to open their mouth and the risk of them breaking your skin is greatly diminished. Source: I was just bitten at work. Face with rolling eyes. Edit: a word in grammar. Also, Howdy is my most upvoted comment about being bitten at work. Face with tears of joy. Hospital bills are negotiable, to a degree. Always ask for an itemized bill and put some effort into analyzing it. You don't have to buy solar panels from some door knocker for $20,000 to $30,000. There is absolutely nothing magical or financially superior about what they do. You can just buy the parts, or a kit, and hire an electrician to install it for about half the retail price. This was 6 to 7 years ago, so may not be relevant, but when I worked at Enterprise Rent-A-Car, the higher-ups were so tunnel-visioned on positive customer reviews that if there was any problem at all we would write off anything from gas to whole days of rentals. We had a few repeat customers that would catch on and habitually complain about dumb to get parts of the bill discounted. Only a rating of completely satisfied counted, and it was tied to bonus and promotion, so a huge incentive to make people happy. Just because you're on hold doesn't mean we can't hear you. Good audio engineers will have faders/knobs that don't do anything. When the talent asks for a change that's goofy or makes no sense, we'll adjust that phantom and watch them nod their head in approval of their amazing idea. When I worked in a hotel as a night porter, the room cost was totally reliant if you were or not. I obviously couldn't just give rooms away, but I could pretty much knock off 50%. One day a very tired woman came in with her baby and I couldn't get the payment to go through at all, so I did give it to her for nothing, just had to make sure she was out before 9 a.m. and I cleaned it myself. Thank you for all the upvotes, awards and kind words. Dog trainer: this is a hack we want people to understand. One reason we can get your dog to do something so fast is because we use a high rate of reinforcement. Example: I'm training your dog to walk on leash without pulling, and we practice in your driveway. I feed the dog 20 tiny pieces of food by my knee as we walk to the end of the driveway. The first time a client tries the exercise they may use 5. The mechanics of the exercise look easy, but it takes time to get used to. And when people are practicing on their own, they do other things, instead of focus on the exercise. They forget how often they need to reinforce the dog for doing the right thing. If they do the exercise for 2 minutes during each walk, with a high rate of reinforcement, roar, that may be all it takes. And once the dog starts to learn, you can gradually slow down the roar. Piper dog, best dog face. If you need durable medical equipment, ask if the private pay price is cheaper than billing your insurance.